Welcome to Retrobot, the YouTube channel where we feed a friendly space robot a diet of pure nostalgia. I'm Clay, and tonight we are looking at Dinobots, but not just any Dinobots, because there are actually a lot. We are looking at Dinobots that combine. Oh, really? Yes. So, Retrobot also would like to combine, and he would like to show off that he has got articulation on half of his body. So give me 5. Well, 2. Give me 2. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Up high. No. You're. Never mind. So yes, we are looking at Dinobots that combine. Now, this is not all the Dinobots in the world that combine. We already looked at Energon, Swoop, and Grimlock, who were able to combine with each other to create Mega Dinobot. And so we're not doing that one this time. Also, there was a group of dinosaur transformers in sort of related to the Gen 1 continuity called Dino King. And I could have sworn I saw somewhere that they had gotten repainted as Dinobots at some point, but maybe that was like a BotCon thing, or who knows? You know what? I know who knows. And that would be Rob S., who you guys know as Kyoji. Rob has changed his screen name, so different name, all of the fantastic encyclopedic knowledge that we have come to love and appreciate from Rob. So thank you, Rob, and I will try to get that right. So yeah, before we dive in, let's go ahead and let's toast people in chat. So here we go. A toast to Kyoji, now known as Rob S. And Joy. Joy to the live stream. Joy is here. Don, aka Brick, as in subtle as a. There we go. I know, I'm abusing the robot. And of course, Ty Guy. It's great to see you, Ty Guy. And a toast to Hope. And a toast to Mike. And a toast to Carlini. And Retrobot, did you get saved right? I think. Oh, poor guy. Oh. I am so sorry. You know, I guess there was a lot of excitement. We had him articulating and things, and can I reboot you? Let me do a system reboot. So there we go, and then you've got a system link over there. If you can do a reboot on that, and we'll see if. Ooh, well. Okay, nothing to see here. There we go. Yes. Poor Retrobot. I'm sorry, buddy. I'll get you there. There we go. So, yeah, we've been working on upgrading Retrobot's chassis, and we've had a lot of success. But and he was so excited to be on the show tonight, and then you know, stuff happens. So So sorry, Retrobot buddy, we'll get you fixed. I'm sorry. But Machiavellic is here, so a toast to Machiavellic. And no, Brick, we will not be using the 5-pound sledge to fix Retrobot's problems. I think that we just need to adapt the larger battery pack. So, tonight is also a very special night because it is Mike's birthday. That's right, Mike's birthday. Everybody wish Mike. That is Hope's husband, my brother-in-law. So, Mike, happy birthday! And of course, it's not a birthday here on Retrobot unless we sing you, oh, a ukulele birthday and a bucket of cake. My ukulele birthday and a bucket of cake. Oh, my ukulele birthday and a bucket of cake. My ukulele birthday and a bucket of cake. Oh, my robot froze and I don't know what to do. But now I've got a ukulele, so that fixes it somehow. Maybe sing along with me, Retrobot. Oh wait, you can't. And a bucket of cake. My ukulele birthday and a bucket of cake. Woohoo! Happy birthday, Mike! And we got you a cake. So we're lighting the candles here. So Mike, I need you to get real close to your screen. This is important. This is how the internet works. It's okay. So get really close to your screen, and then here we'll get. Now, see, I was looking forward to having Retrobot hand this to me, but I guess that's not going to happen. All right, so I need you to blow as hard as you can on 3, okay? 1, 2, 3, blow into your screen. Yay! Awesome, good job, Mike. All right, well, I will pass that off, and then we will hand you a piece of cake, and we can just hand it right over the internet. And then if you would just do me the favor of uploading your slice to an FTP server, that way everybody else can log in and download a slice of cake. Then that way everybody gets cake. That's how the internet works. I'm pretty sure that that's how things work. And so while oh wait, I think that are we close? Yes. Oh, wow. That didn't take long at all. All right. So here's my slice. I don't have to download from the FTP server. And, take that. All right, Mike. Okay, I'm just going to push this into the camera. Okay, here we go. There. And you got it? Okay. File sent. And, there were carrots on this cake, which apparently are orange roses. That's what I seem to remember. Oh, this is actually carrot cake. Oh, gosh. I love carrot cake. Carrot cake is one of those things that I would have never even tried when I was a kid because it was called carrot cake. And the idea of cake made out of carrots, okay, that's something where young Clay would be like, ew, no. But carrot cake is delicious. So, yeah. Gosh. All right, one more. I shouldn't eat on camera, but, I mean, it's really good. You guys all got your slices, right? I'm assuming that you did, so. It's my birthday! Woo! All right. I will set that right over there. And now Monica is getting a phone call, and her phone is linked in to our little speaker thing right up there. So that's fun. Tonight is a night of all sorts of random happenstance, but we're going to just kind of dive right in, and we are going to look at Dinobots. That's right. Oh, good. Hope says that she got the cake, and wow, is it good. Awesome. All right, Hope. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Make sure that you print out a slice for Mike as well. So that'll be good. Machiavellic says the carrots were made to be yummy to me as a child because I was raised to love rabbits, and I think you can make the connection from there. I think I can. Awesome. Okay, so robots. We've got robots. We got all sorts of Dinobots here. We are looking at the Power Core Combiners, and we are also looking at Power of the Primes, which is based on the Combiner Wars system. So I'm going to knock all these guys over because that's important. Actually, I'm going to move a lot of these guys out of the way because I want you to be able to see what we're talking about. It's the downside when I make these nice little things. I think when I build my studio, I am going to have a separate camera set up for the opening shot and then a different camera for doing my hand stuff. That way I can just pull stuff off of the pile that's neatly made.
Freezing. Boom. Huh?
I don't get that. By the way, the drinking word is Saurus. So you can see right there, balanced on my finger, if I say Saurus, then I have to drink, and for doing my hand stuff. Okay. So I just said it like 3 times, so. All right, so we have our Power Core Combiners guy. This is a guy named Grimstone, and Grimstone is he was a new character. He was not based off of any specific Gen 1 character. However, obviously they incorporated Grim, which relates to Grimlock, and they put him in Gen 1 Dinobot colors. And as a Power Core Combiner, he came with drones. So you can see these drones. These do not transform into robots, but he can combine with them. And that's really the whole shtick of the Power Core Combiners, is that they were Transformers that would turn into, they would be a regular Transformer figure, supposedly, that had an alt mode and a robot mode, but they would also have this combination gimmick. And as this was during a time that Hasbro seemed to be kind of struggling with how to do combiners. And you can understand why if you look back over the history of combiners up to that point. You had the Gen 1 line that was mostly made up of Scramble City style combiners, which would have these little robots with tiny little peg heads that would then peg into the bodies, and then you would add fists, feet, chest plates, and a head. So it didn't so much transform into a big robot as you managed to get all the figures to stick together, and then you add parts to make it look like a big robot. And then they did have some that would kind of deviate from that. They had the Predacons, which were awesome, and they were 5 regular-sized Transformers figures, not the little dinky ones, and they took far fewer pieces, really only needing to add fists and feet and a robot head. no chest plate, and nothing else, and it made a larger combined robot. So Predaking was probably the best of all of the Gen 1 combiners. And then you had some very, very odd combiners over the Beast Wars era. You didn't have any of the normal Gestalt style where they would have one guy that makes up a body and then 4 other characters that make up limbs. They just didn't do that in Beast Wars. So you get beyond Beast Wars, you're getting back into Robots in Disguise, Armada, Energon, and Cybertron. They had Magmatron and Magnaboss, and those were guys that were made up of 3 other characters. But yeah, they didn't do any of the normal ones. And then in Robots in Disguise, you had the Rail Racer, which was another 3 character, and you had the Build Team. And so they had been playing with different ways of doing combiners. Rail Racer, from what I understand, was one of the most complicated toys that they ever designed. And Tim Kangaroo is here. So, welcome, Tim Kangaroo. Hey, make sure to wish Mike a happy birthday. A toast to Tim Kangaroo. So yeah, you had a lot of these different combiners trying different things, because doing a combiner well is hard. It is, because it requires a lot of characters, and the original ones had been underwhelming, but combining is cool. If there's one thing that Voltron has taught us, it's that combining is cool. If there's one thing that Power Rangers has taught us, is that combining is cool. So they wanted to do it, but they just hadn't gotten it. And so we had the ones from Energon, where it was kind of a small central guy, and then they would have 4 appendage characters, but they were always like 2 clones. You know, there would be 2 guys that were exactly the same, just repaints of the other, and 2 other guys that were just repaints of each other. And I didn't like that either. And I remember thinking at the time, you know, why not have 4 distinct characters, but then repaint them for other lines? Well, apparently somebody working on Combiner Wars heard young Clay saying that over and over again and paid attention, and that's how we got Alpha Bravo and Vortex and Blades and 2 helicopters in Victorion. So this was before Combiner Wars. This was in that in-between. This was around 2010, 2011. They had the Power Core Combiners, which were regular Transformer characters of not a large size, but not quite the smallest dinky size either. And so this guy, this is Grimstone. And let's get him into focus here so that you can really appreciate what's going on here. His detail is okay. It's not fantastic. The face is it's hardly recognizable as a face, to be honest. But it does have Gen 1 Dinobot-esque colors. So you know, there is that. It does have some posability. It has, you know, a lot of mobility around the shoulders. However, these pieces here make it very hard to move his arm up and down. So the posability that should be there just isn't quite there, because there's obstructions with this piece interfering with the dino legs here. The legs are very posable, so you've got a nice hip joint here that moves in several directions. You have a swivel at the thigh, you have a knee joint, and then you have these terrible, terrible feet. Those are quite possibly some of the dumbest looking feet. I don't understand. I know that they've made better feet. And here's the other thing, and this is something that they did with all of the Power Core Combiner bodies. They made the combination pegs all this powder blue. I know we've had a lot of segues already, and we're only about 20 minutes into this live stream. And so, I apologize, but can all of you just take a step away from your screen? Just for a moment. I promise I won't make it long. Hasbro. Come here. You know, we put together combiner toys before. I'm just letting you know, okay? As somebody who was in what, like 5th grade in 1984, 1985, something like that. We were able. Children are able to put together combiner toys without necessarily having the combiner pegs painted a color that doesn't match anything else on any of the toys. None of the toys. There is not a single one of the Power Core Combiners that is this color. Why? Whose idea was that? I hope they're fired now. Did you put them on the GoBots team? Okay. I'm sorry. Everybody can come back. Everybody can come back. So yeah, we get the little pegs that they did absolutely nothing to disguise. And Joy says face hugger. I don't know why. I guess I could try and hug my own face. Boy, this is what love feels like. I'm hugging my face. You know what? That does feel nice. Thank you, Joy. You know what? Here, I'll hug your face too. There we go. Oh, doesn't that feel good? So, yeah. Face hugger. It's a word that means love. So anyway, back to Grimstone. Aside from some of the obvious shortcuts that were taken because of the attempts to create combiners but do it on a budget, I still like this guy. He's not a bad guy. He's got decent posability, and his robot mode isn't terrible, and I feel like the fact that it's done in original Gen 1-ish colors really goes a long way. If this were green and purple, I don't think I would like him that much. And so obviously nostalgia plays a role. And I'm willing to admit that. I am absolutely willing to admit that. Let's go ahead and turn him into what the package said was a Triceratops, but it is a Styracosaurus. And so I guess people at Hasbro at that time, at least in their packaging department, or the people writing the verbiage, they know their dinosaurs about as well as I do. Fortunately, my wife, the lovely and talented Monica, she really knows her dinosaurs. So she can correct things when they are done incorrectly. So you can see that I have moved the chest up over the robot head, and then I folded the arms in and combined them into the back of the creature, and then we've got the Styracosaurus head crown here. And notice that the Styracosaurus has a horn on its nose, but it does not have two more long horns on its forehead. See, that's what makes something a Triceratops, is that it has 3 horns, because the tri, it means 3. So, just letting you know there, Hasbro, tri is for 3, Triceratops has 3 horns. Sty means pointy crown of horns, and so when you see a pointy crown of horns, then that's a Styracosaurus. I'm an expert in Latin roots. So yeah, I'm folding in the little combiner pegs here, and we've got the tail here that can fold up and just kind of snap in place there. And then we have the legs here, which are just going to spin around, and they're going to do this. Now, this is kind of awful. So you just transform this, and you're supposed to ignore the bright blue peg coming out the back of the dinosaur leg. That's it. No effort whatsoever. In fact, extra effort was put into making sure that there was no way to ignore that. So yeah, we put a swivel there, and then we've got a somewhat of a Styracosaurus right here, and that's his vehicle mode, and I feel like there's something happening over here. Oh. I should probably... Hey, honey, can you get one of the cats to catch that? Yeah, there's a little something that went somewhere. Yeah, we'll just ignore that. So and Hope is thanking everyone for the birthday fondness for Mike. So all of our pleasantries and everything. You are welcome, Hope. We love you, Mike. And Mike, I've said Styracosaurus like 14 times. Oh crap! I didn't even realize it until I was on this camera and I saw Saurus in the background. So 1, 2, 3. I don't know how many times I did this. Do you want some cake? Here you go. Yeah, there you go. All right. So, hey, Ashy Slashy, I've got a friend for you. Yeah. So that's happening apparently. So here we have the Styracosaurus. I said it again. This is going to be a long live stream. So here we have the dino whatever, and it looks like that. And I actually don't mind this beast mode. It's not terribly accurate. It's got a Minicon port on the tail, so if you had a Minicon, you could put it on there. It doesn't do anything special like a lot of the Armada Minicon ports, but it does fit them just fine. So this can go there, and then it also, of course, has its drones, and that was one of the big selling features, is that these guys also came with these drones. So you had a Spino whatever, and the Spino whatever is, yeah, I like this guy. He's not posable at all. None of the legs move. I guess you could open the mouth. You can do that. You can move the tail, but it really is mostly just a statue of a Spino whatever. And then we have a bullhead of something. What's the one with a what's this one? That's the Pachycephala thingamabob. So also if you're gonna hang out here, then do it right, okay? You really gotta put this in here, okay? Because otherwise, how can you make sure to keep me in line and make sure that you have control without being able to crush my windpipe at any given time? All right. So I feel like your facehugger friend understood that. So yeah, okay. He's starting to understand. Anyway, La Rocasa. Welcome, La Rocasa and Chris Remley. A toast to La Rocasa and Chris Remley. So, here we have our Pachycephala. This gets harder the more of these that I drink. Pachycephalosaurus. Oh, damn it! See, the word is saurus. At what point did I decide I needed a drinking word? I don't remember when that happened, but I feel like I lost some element of control when I made that decision. So anyway, Rob S says apparently the blue bits are supposed to be folded up so they sit flush against the back of the blank part of the back of the leg. So we there ain't no place. Yeah, I don't see. They don't go in anywhere. Now in robot mode, they kind of tucked into the back of the leg a little bit. You know, just a little bit. At least on the back legs. Now on the front legs, they do kind of sort of fold in, unless you look at them like that. But yeah, there's. Now see that? Okay, that's weird. That doesn't look like anything. Okay, let's. So Monica just showed me a picture that had it like this. And oh, okay, I see what's going on. It's a weird picture, but yeah. So that was like that. I don't know if they had just molded those things out of black. That's what I don't get. They could have just molded these things out of black. If they wanted a single color to choose black. Just about every Transformer has black on them somewhere. And even if it doesn't, the black just kind of... It's easy to ignore the black. But the powder blue, it's dumb. I'm sorry. But I don't usually do this. Because I have a lot of respect for designers and their challenges, and I understand that there's reasons for things, but every now and then I see a decision that was made, and I just don't understand it. And the powder blue things, I don't understand, and I feel like whoever made that decision was just not very smart about that decision. That's it. So La Rocasa says paint it black. So yeah. And here, do you wanna hang out here? There we go. There we go. Oh, wait, here. We'll do this. That way it's obvious where you came from. All right, so yeah, that is Grimstone in his dinosaur. I feel like dinosaur is still... No, soar? Okay, so... as long as I don't add the last two letters, those two letters right there, right above my finger. Yeah, I'm touching the S. Yeah. Anyway, so all right. So we have the spina whatever and the pachycephaly whatever, and then we have an anklia whatever. See, I'm trying to keep myself from having to drink. So we have the anklia whatever, and I like these. I know that they don't have movable parts. I wish that they did. I wish that they had opening mouths and positionable limbs, because they don't transform into robots. That's the thing. The only thing that these drones do is they are these extra little dinosaur characters to go along with, and then they combine. So I feel like they could have been made to have some articulation points, but they were more interested in coming up with a unique transformation gimmick, and I will show you that in just a moment. But so that's the anklia whatever, and then we have the is this an apattus? Here, I'll show you. So it's this one. Hadrosaur. And that does not have an us at the end, so yeah. All right, I win this one, Hadrosaur, and I like the Hadrosaur. I like all of them, even though they're kind of they're not impressive. They don't look terribly realistic. They're not terribly detailed. But I guess for me, the idea of this guy having his own little private army of dinosaur drones is pretty cool in its own right, and it's certainly not as cool as the original 5 Dinobots, but it's a nice attempt, and I appreciate the attempt. And of course, they do have a combined mode, and that's really what we want to get to. I mean, that's the gravy. So let's go ahead and let's transform Grimstone, and he just stays Grimstone. He doesn't become Grimstone Maximus or Ultra Grimstone or Mega Grimlock or anything like that. He just stays Grimstone because I guess the drones are sort of part of him in the same way that Gen 1 Optimus Prime had his trailer portion that was another primary component, and then there was a roller component, but they were all part of him. And so if he had been able to combine with him, he didn't turn into Optimus Maximus or anything like that. He would stay Optimus. So Brick says, I see a blue box and I want to paint it black. And so I am getting a message from my finger. Also, Monica. Here's what I don't get. You get these weird little details and fans kind of get sore ass about it. Sore... Et tu, Brute? See, she made me say sore ass. Well done. Very, very well done. So... and don't the rest of you feel bad that Monica came up with that one first. Alright, so this guy turns into a robot body. And we're going to do that because there are two reasons to buy this set. One, it looks like Gen 1 Dinobots. Okay, there's 3 reasons to buy this set. 1, it looks like Gen 1 Dinobots. 2, it's robot dinosaurs. And 3, they combine into a large robot. So, and no, this set did not come in regular dino colors. Because, I mean, why would I buy that? I mean, they've got Dinobot colors. So anyway, so we what you can do is we have the opening the thing here. It does a thing. Let's see. Let's first flip up the tail. So tail flips up, and then you put the legs straight down, and now you're just going to fold these little feet things up against the thigh, and then close this dippy red part. And I will say that this is the only time that you will ever see these legs looking decent, because in every other mode they look horrendous, but they look pretty good there. And then we also have, let's see, so we have these things. Now notice that there's a little rectangular peg, a little rectangular tab right there. Maybe I can get the camera to zoom in on it. Yeah, look at that. So there's a rectangular tab right there, and then there is a rectangular slot right there. So we just need to peg that in and then fold down the blue peg. It's a good thing they made that blue so I could tell where it was. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Maybe. Come on, camera. I know that you can do it. I know that you can do it. You can focus on something other than my eyebrow. There. Oh, it did it for a second. So there, and yeah, just like that. And then fold that around. And now we take the face of the dinosaur and lift it up, and it's on sort of a double hinge thing. And so there it has this elongated crest, which Brick had made a comment earlier about how he felt like this design could have been the inspiration for the Fallen from the Revenge of the Fallen, which was a movie about robots that have absolutely nothing to do with Transformers. And I will show those. So I've got him here, and oh, the camera wants to focus in on him. So you can sort of see, yeah, I can see some similarities there. When he first made that comment, I was like, the Fallen kind of looked like a pig iron version of Optimus Prime, except with fire coming out of his face. And but it wasn't that Fallen; it was the Bayformer Fallen. So here we have. That is not a bad combiner body. Okay, it's got. Notice that I didn't have to add any pieces. You know, the super robot head is built in, and he's got the shoulders built in, and these pegs provide articulation points for the limbs. So then you add the limbs. Now these are supposedly supposed to transform on their own. You know, you just peg them in and they transform. And sometimes that works. Like, there we go. So he becomes an arm. And you know, that's arm-like. It's got a dinosaur head for a hand. I'm willing to accept that. You know, the shoulders got this fin thing that sticks out, which, okay, that's not so bad. And then we have this guy, and he does this. Like I said, sometimes it works better than others. Maybe. So, there. I don't know what the hell that is. That's okay. He's got his legs kind of angling in, and I guess that's supposed to be a claw. And here's the thing: if you're gonna have one guy on the team make this little tiny claw hand, then maybe don't have the guy on the other side have his giant dinosaur thighs as an attempt at some kind of a pincher. It's really off balance. But But we're not finished yet. We have to put in the leg characters. So we have the this guy, and so we plug this in here, and I've never been able to get this guy to actually go on there without helping him along. So I'm just going to help him. So I'm going to kind of move these pieces into the position and then snap that in there. Maybe. Doesn't want to go. And I see that Nature View and Josh are here. A toast to Nature View and Josh. Nature View says, "What's up, lovely people? I hope everybody's having a good time, and if you are, let Nature View know that we are all having a good time." Josh was helping us out with Retrobot, who took a little bit of a dump tonight. So unfortunately, I'd let Josh know, oh, we're going to be using Retrobot tonight. He's going to be on the stream. You're going to get to see some of your hard work in action. And then he kind of pooped the bed. So, and Monica just wants to say that she wasn't even touching it at the time, and then he got stuck and doesn't know how to work. That's okay. We will free the alien symbiote that's inside there, and he'll be fine. He'll be fine. But yeah, it needs more power. He just needs more power. So we need more nostalgia. That's what it is. So Joy says, here's a joke for you. What's a toy store for dinosaurs? Toysaurus. Thank you for that, Joy. Toys are Saurus. Toys are Toysaurus. Toys are. Anyway. And Nature View says, hey, guess what rhymes with Ford Taurus? Oh gosh, everybody's in on the act. Is it? I'll just drink. There we go. You know, this is a very large container of booze. I should be concerned about how much of that I've polished off in a relatively small amount of time. So then we stick the leg into the Ankylosaurus. Let's put the tail down and... Gosh. Okay, this is another one. Seems like the legs want to fight me a lot. I don't know if it's just mine or if all of them are that way. But there we go. So this is the combined form, and we will show it on the other camera. There he is, and there's things that I like, and there's things that I don't think work very well at all. Here, wait, he needs to have his there. So the legs, they work. They don't really look like legs, but he can stand on them. So you know, standing is good, and he does have some decent articulation. He's got good hip joints and knee joints, even though it keeps wanting to bring this little thigh thing forward. He's got shoulder joints. He doesn't have elbows, and here's where I think that the challenge was maybe not really well thought out. So obviously with these guys, one of the gimmicks that is a feature is the auto transformation gimmick. Because I mean, hey, the idea of you plug the guys in and they just convert into a limb, that's cool in theory. It is cool in theory, and I really respect the geometry that they came up with to make these guys change their shape and do it pretty convincingly. I mean, these do not look like their original dinosaur shapes, but they make really garbage looking limbs. And I feel like if they didn't have to try and make them automatically transform and they just focused on making them turn into a good looking limb, then you would have had a better combined mode in the end. And you wouldn't have had guy that is just kind of trying to toe grab things and I'm okay with a dinosaur head for a hand. I mean, Voltron got a lot of mileage out of having a lion head for a hand, but he had 2 lion heads. One lion head for each hand and then another lion head for each foot. Okay, there was a sense of symmetry there that even, and I'm okay with asymmetrical design, but if you're going to have asymmetrical design, what you want is visual balance, where dissimilar features have the same visual weight and they balance each other across the horizontal field as you're looking at the figure, and even the vertical field to some degree, but to a lesser degree because body dynamics can sometimes alter the perception by giving something, for example, larger feet and lower legs and then tapering it up. Having disproportionate feet and legs, then it helps to give it a more massive look, and then you can have a smaller body and then you have larger forearms. It makes the character look more dynamic. And so you can play with things like that, but you still want to have visual balance from left to right. You look at a character like Metroplex. Metroplex is an asymmetrical design. His one side of the chest is different from the other. He has some dissimilar features. He has a thing on his back over on this side. He has cannons over on this side. But he looks overall very well balanced and very well proportioned. And this guy is lacking in visual balance. It doesn't mean that I don't like him. I'm critical of a lot of the design decisions that were made. And I feel like this concept could be revisited and it could be done better. But at this point, the question is, do we need that? And the reason I ask that is because this guy was an attempt to answer the desire to see combiners return to the fold in the Transformers universe. And I feel like there was probably a lot of motivation of, hey, people have always wanted to see the Dinobots combine. What if we make a Dinobot combiner? Well, now we have a Dinobot combiner. And I dare say that the Dinobot combiner that we have is better than this one. Do we need to revisit this? Probably not. But if they did, I would like to see them do it better. More balanced, better limbs that actually look and function like limbs, and better creature modes. I want articulation. If it doesn't have to turn into a robot, if it only has to go from creature to robot limb, then I want that creature to be able to get into cool poses and have an opening jaw and be able to attack and slash and jump and leap and all that good stuff. So that is Grimstone, the Power Core Combiner from 2010. Probably the best of all of the Power Core combiners, by the way. There were a number of these, and I bought the hell out of these. I have a ton of them because I love combiners. But I think that this one is probably my favorite, even with the various criticisms that I have of the design. So let's set him aside and let us move on to Power the Primes. So this is probably around 2017. Oh, and Don says he has a 5-pound sledge that would fix Retrobot. I already responded to that. You were running around. That's all right. That's all right. So 2017, we have Power of the Primes, where they are revisiting the Combiner Wars combination scheme, tweaking a few things in terms of making prime armor that becomes hands and then making separate feet, replacing the Combiner Wars style hands/feet that would sort of change from one to the other, and they would make pretty decent hands, pretty lousy feet. They made lousy feet. Combiner Wars feet sucked. But yeah, they're very, very flat, very, very tiny. The Combiner Wars feet, or the Power of the Primes feet, were a little bit better. They were a little bit higher, and you can even peg the Combiner Wars prime armor, not Combiner Wars. You know, we're going to make the drinking word. Like, okay, from now on, if I get Combiner Wars and Power of the Primes screwed up, call me on it and I have to take a drink, because I have messed it up like 14 times in the last 5 minutes. So, and I'm just owning it. I am owning it. That is my sense of integrity that I bring to this channel. So let's pull some of these guys out. We have a bunch of these guys, and of course there were 6 combined. I almost did it again. Power of the Primes Dinobots. We had. So there we go. So we had Grimlock, Slug, which used to be named Slag, but apparently that's a naughty word in Great Britain. So he is no longer named Slag. He is now named Slug. And I'm just going to knock over Grimlock. I'm going to get some of these little platforms out of the way for now, because we don't need them. Grimlock, stand up. Don't pull a Retrobot on me. So, I'm sorry, buddy. I don't mean to make fun. So, there we go. We've got Grimlock and Slug. And Snarl. And Swoop. Let's see. Can we fit here? Take a nap there, Slug. Here, move Slug out of the way. There we go. So we got Swoop. Oh, come on, Swoop. Don't you start with me. All the robots are fighting me tonight. And I got a lot of robots here. And then we've got Sludge. And then we also have a new Dinobot, a female Dinobot, that has been added to the team. And that's Slash. And Slash turns into a Velociraptor. Now, you will notice that my Dinobots have more weapons than they originally came with. Different weapons. And that is because I have purchased upgrade kits. And the reason that I purchased upgrade kits here, I'm going to show you some pictures here. Let's see. I've got pictures. So here is a picture that I found on the internet that shows the original Power of the Primes Volcanicus versus the new one that is available through Hasbro Selects right now. This is a repaint of this one, but they've also added more weapons, and they've added special, better robot feet and hands, and so they've tried to make it spiffier. But if you notice, this Volcanicus is very, very skinny. He's a skinny guy. The Grimlock turns into a body, and then they did this thing, which is an interesting idea for how to do the chest, where his dinosaur legs go out to the sides and create these side circle thingies, and then the arms peg on, which gives him a very, very wide T-shaped chest, but a very, very narrow waist. And I have seen some other pictures, and this is something that I used to do. Here's another one where, let's see if I can make that bigger. So you can see here is one where what they've done is they've taken a couple pieces of the Prime armor and used it to fill in the gap. And that does help. Anything that you can do to help fill in that space is really important with Volcanicus, because he's just a very, very skinny dude. I think that I have, yeah, okay, so yeah, I have other pictures of these guys. So that is yes. Okay. No. Retrobot's not feeling well. It's okay. He still loves you, and I still love you, Ashy Slashy. So there, yeah. So I guess Retrobot took off, until he feels a little bit better. Rob S, that's we're just looking at robot dinosaurs. They're there. Okay. Do you need some cake? All right. So for those reasons, I opted to get the upgrade kits for my Power of the Primes Dinobots, and they do add a lot of stuff, but along with that does come some issues. And so we're going to look at that, and I just wanted that to be mindful. I had already also done a little bit of kit bashing of my own in order to try and bulk up Volcanicus. And one of the things that I did was I created extra members of the Dinobot team out of some Titan Masters. So we had these Titan Masters, which I repainted, and these guys turn into, on the packages they say Tyrannosauruses, but they're very, very tiny. And we've got a Tyrannosaurus. Oh shoot, I'm saying it. I've just said it like 2 or 3 times. So Osaka Jack says, we're here, wanted to make sure. Okay, Osaka Jack, a toast to Osaka Jack. Oh, we're here, wanted to make sure Clay saw us. Oh gosh. You too, Osaka Jack, I thought that you loved me. So, this is to Osaka Jack. And this is because I'm gullible. And I'm getting more gullible with every gulp. Dare I say I'm becoming gulpable. All right. Whew. And I splattered. This is when I discovered my drinking problem. The problem is that my drink gets on my face. So there we go. So yeah, I took these Titan Masters. Now this is Taro, and I just did some kit bashing on him to give him wings that could move into different positions, and I did a little bit of extra detail painting to make him look a little bit more Dinobot-esque. That now, granted, he already was gray and red, so he kind of had a Dinobot look to him. And you can see the little Titan Master character that I did some detail painting on as well. And I did a little bit of detail painting there. And so that's Taro's Titan Master. And then this is the little vehicle, which the vehicle turns into a pterodactyl or a pteranodon. So you have that, and then you can take this little Titan Master guy, and you can kind of do, let's see if I remember correctly, it goes up through here, and then the legs kind of plug in there. So that is his Pteranodon mode. Oh, whoops. And so, and you know, that this is another case where having the extra articulation in the wings really added a lot. That was something that you know, he didn't used to be able to flap here, and you can see how I actually just created those joints with wire screwed into the side there. So a little bit of careful cutting and building some hinges, and that gave me a pterodactyl that actually can flap its wings. And then I have these two guys, and so I forget the name of the original characters, and I still have versions of these guys. You saw this guy was in his gun configuration. All of these guys can become weapons, so that's what they look like as a gun. And then you can do that, and then the guy becomes a what they called a little Tyrannosaurus. I was talking to Monica, and we're going to call this a Gasosaurus, because those are a lot smaller and still kind of Tyrannosaurus shaped, but that is what that looks like. And then there's that Gasosaurus constructus, and oh shoot, it's like another dozen times. It's hard. It's hard when you're trying to remember dinosaur names and transforming guys and tell the story, and then remember that you can't say the suffix that is in every single one of these things. So that is very yummy. Gasosaurus. Do you think he's Saurus? So yeah, I like these guys, and so when they went on sale at Ollie's, good stuff cheap, then I got a couple extras and I did the repaints, and I like the way that they convert too. You have, you know, this bird thing, and then you can. So I love what they did. They have the Titan Master, and he combines with it, and the legs become the lower jaw, just like that. And wait here, I'm gonna try and make this work. Oh wait here, okay. So you have the arms go forward, and there, that presses into that. And then you close the wings around just like that. There we go. And then the Titan Master arms become the arms of the Gasosaurus. I know I said it again. Darn it! And see, he's a cool little guy. I like that. So that was he's like a dino bird. He's like a dino whatever. And so now I drink more adult beverage. But yeah, I created these guys so that I would have more pieces to stick onto Volcanicus to try and bulk him up. But that was before I got those upgrade kits. And so now he is bulked up, and then I still add stuff. And actually, I would still like to do some more kit bashing, but I'll show you where he's at now because it's pretty good. So let's take these characters one at a time. First, let's see. Stand up, Swoop. Swoop really wants to fall over. Swoop's got a little bit of loose feet, and they don't want to support Swoop's weight. But we're going to try. There we go. Okay, so let's just set some of these guys off to the side so that you will be able to see what it is that we're talking about when we're talking about it. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is Slash. Slash is the new addition to the team, and Slash is also the first official toy Dinobot that is a female. So, you know, that's her. She's got a nice little robot mode. She's a small figure. She turns into a Velociraptor, which is very cool. So you can do that, and then flip the claws down over the fists. You open the panel on the back, fold out the raptor head, you spin around the legs, and then they can go together, just like that. Flip in the feet. And then those are going to close over the body. And now you just put the various dino limbs into a more natural dino pose. And you have a very, very nice little raptor. I love Slash. Slash is just cool. And I love the idea of adding more characters to the Dinobots team. Because, you know, the only thing that's better than having 5 Dinobots is having 6 Dinobots. And notice the other clever thing that they did with all of these toys in this line is, in order to get that look like the original Dinobots had, where they would have these gold parts underneath and then have a clear shell over top of it. What they did was they cast these parts in clear plastic, and they put the details that they wanted in the underside of the mold, and then painted the inside gold. And that gives it this look as though there's a gold part inside, but they can do it with only one layer of plastic. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And whoever it was at Hasbro or Takara that came up with that idea, they deserve a raise, because that's fantastic. By the way, I have just been notified by my finger that Director Daniel Mason is here. Welcome, Director Daniel Mason. A toast. And by the way, the drinking word is that. It's more of a suffix than a word. Just gonna say. So, we are now looking at Power of the Primes Dinobots. and we're going to be looking at Volcanicus, which is going to be awesome. Just letting you know, it's going to be awesome. So Slash, she has an awesome little raptor mode. I love the look. I love the colors. I think that that she's an excellent addition to the team. Now, the only downside with Slash is that, unlike most of the Scout class characters that were added to the Combiner Wars teams, she does not have any definitive place where she is supposed to go on Volcanicus. If you remember correctly, when the Stunticons were done in Combiner Wars, they also included a Scout class Blackjack, which would become the chest crest. That was then later repainted to become Hot Rod, so that in Optimus Maximus you could also stick it in the chest. Power Glide had a gun mode that could be used by Superion, but it also pegs into the back to give Superion a jetpack. Shockwave was made in the Scout class, and unofficially is paired with the Combaticons because of the Gen 1 episode where Bruticus was rampaging on Cybertron and grabs Shockwave in gun mode and starts blasting him. So you can actually have Bruticus using Shockwave as his hand weapon. So they had all of these pairings that worked. And then in Power of the Primes, they added Slash to the group, but she does not transform into any part of Volcanicus. At least not officially. Lots of people have come up with ways to stick her on, and I've got my own way, and I will show it in just a bit. But that is Slash, and Slash is great. Love Slash. We're going to see more of Slash when we get to combining Volcanicus. Next on the agenda, we have Swoop. And you can see Swoop here with, holding one of the extra swords that came with the upgrade kit. The upgrade kit doesn't assign any specific character with any specific weapon, but I tended to have preferred weapon combinations, especially for in their dino modes, because with all these extra pieces, there's all these weapons, and you gotta find places for them to go. I want them to be able to tote their weapons. So with Swoop here, I tend to like to put these extra guns on the arms, like that. And then give Swoop one of these swords. And so Swoop can be armed to the teeth. And this is a good Swoop. This is a very nice Swoop. And of course, it's hard to compare to the awesomeness of the original Dinobot toys from Gen 1. Because they have a distinctiveness all their own. The metal and the feel. There's something where I feel like there's just never going to be anything quite like that. And you're not going to get that from these toys, but what you are going to get... you're going to get annoyed when this falls off. You're going to get very posable, dynamic, well-detailed, awesome-looking figures with ball joints in the shoulders and hinges in the elbows and a pivot in the wrist, which granted is there for the transform, but it's still another point of articulation. A swivel in the head. You've got a swivel in the hips, even though it's limited by the beak. You've got a swivel in the thigh. You've got knee joints, and of course the feet that are a little bit too weak in mine. I may have to do a little bit of joint tightening because he keeps wanting to fall over. But he looks great. His body dynamics are nice, and so you know, as swoops go, this is the best swoop that I have seen since Gen 1 swoop, and dare I say, maybe it's better. You know, swoop is awesome, but of all the Dinobots, he is probably the least cool, in the sense that he is the smallest, and he is probably the least badass, but nonetheless, the original Swoop toy is an excellent toy. This Swoop is well worthy of being a successor to that toy. And let's go ahead and turn him into a dino something. So, see, I managed, even though I'm allowed to say dinosaur, because it doesn't have us at the end. But, so, we've got Swoop here, and I'm going to spread the wings out, and I'm going to flip the fists in, just like that. And then I'm going to pivot the arms so that they are kind of facing out in a kind of, hey, look at me, don't you want a party kind of pose. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to put them in the, hey, don't you want a party pose, and then you know, you can bring the head up and even bring it forward like that. And then we are going to take the legs and we are going to put them together. And we are going to collapse them over. Now, make sure that, notice that the wings are pivoted out. That's the way that I have him transform for his robot. They can be pivoted in this way, but then he won't go together. So make sure that these are pivoted out like this when you close the legs, because you see there are these pegs right here, these tabs, and they need to go into these slots, and those slots have to be vertically aligned. So that's going to fit in like that. And see, now he pretty much looks like the Dark Knight logo. He just needs like two points here rather than one. So yeah, if you need a Batarang, you can use your Swoop. And now you see there's these little tabs on his arms, and they are going to peg into these slots on the hips. So they're just going to go in like that and like that. And now you can take the feet and just swing them around like that. And now you put the wings into a more natural position. And if you want to put the bird feet forward, and he's actually pretty poseable in his dino mode. His wings can flap, he can look down, he can actually sit like this, or he can aim his head forward, and he can even flap his wings downward. He can point his toes back. So there's a lot that you can do in both modes. I would say that he's actually more playable than his Gen 1 counterpart, and looks better than his Energon counterpart, and looks cooler than his animated counterpart. So yeah, I'm going to stand by my claim that this is overall the best Swoop that they've ever made. And I know I'm stepping on some people's sacred cows here, but yeah, this Swoop is better than the original. Not by much, okay? Not by much, and you depending on how you weigh stuff, you could make arguments to the contrary, but in my book, yeah, this is the best Swoop. And then I have these extra guns here, and so we've got places for guns. Now, I actually added a couple holes. So I added a hole there and a hole there, because I needed more places for stuff. And these guns have several different pegs that you can use. They're very versatile. So, you know, you can kind of do that, and then put the guns right there. And so I'll fold in that little thing, and then I'll pull this out. Now, there are a lot of different... There are at least several different companies that make upgrade kits for combiners. And I've gotten a couple different ones, and the ones that I prefer are Perfect Effects. I have tried some of the other ones, and I find that the Perfect Effects combiner kits are really, really nice quality and very nice designs. There are things that I would do differently, based on things that I would prefer, but I understand why they do what they do, and we'll talk about that. But like these guns, they are very, very cool looking. They've got lots of little points of articulation, and they're very solid. Usually this is part of the hands and feet upgrade kit, and those upgrade kits, depending on what's all included, if it's just hands and feet, they're usually about $20. Sometimes as high as 27, and when they're brand new, they tend to be more expensive. But when I've gotten the kits that just have hands and feet, then it's about $20. And it's something that it improves the combiners so much. Osaka Jack says, possible stream idea, not sure if you'd want it, but you do amazing kit bashes, maybe an episode of your greatest kit. I'm assuming it says kit bashes? Oh, kit bashing failures. Oh, what to avoid if someone is working on toys. You know what? We could do a stream about that, because I have had some failures. I kind of feel like Obesimus. He was not a success. I mean, I tried, but he was not a success. So, and yeah, and there's this tiny Psykill. Yeah, that was one that just didn't work. So yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. Monica, she's making note of it right now. So yeah, we'll talk about that. So anyway, I added these guns, and then we also have these things, and I did some. Oh, I remember. So he's also got. There's also Prime Armor. There's Prime Armor somewhere around here. Oh, yeah, here. Let me... One of these guys... Oh, Sludge has it. Sludge has his Prime Armor. Okay, so... I also have a piece of Prime Armor, and that can fit right on the back. And see, they have these little tabs right here on the underside of the Prime Armor, and then there's these tabs here, and so that can just go right on there. And then once I do that, then that gives me an extra couple of places where I can stick swords. So Swoop can have sword and guns, and I actually give him the sword that Sludge is holding right now also. But yeah, so Swoop in his dino mode can be armed really, really well. And here, I'll just... So you have Sludge here. He's holding that sword, so I'll just take that. And so now Swoop has swords, Swoop has guns, Swoop is ready to kick ass. That's pretty cool. And so that's something where, in general, you've seen me talk about how I think that it's a tremendous advancement in combiners technology. That the newest toys, you don't need to add a robot head, you don't need to add a robot chest plate. At this point, the only thing they're making you add is hands and feet. So, obviously, I like it better when the toys just transform and combine. I don't want to have a whole bunch of extra pieces, but when you see Volcanicus with the upgrade kit in comparison to those pictures, it's worth it. Hands down, it's worth it. So I'm going to set Swoop aside for the moment. Let's go ahead and look at Sludge. Sludge volunteered to be next by giving us his sword. So here he is, and let me put down a little platform for him. Let's use this platform. Just lay down, Grimlock. That's okay. That's okay. So, and yeah, there. So, here we have Sludge. Sludge did have a sword in one hand, and he had his giant guns. Wow. Did I mention that these guns were giant? He has these giant guns in the other hand, and now he's tremendously off balance, so we'll do that. Now, this is one of the robot feet that was part of the upgrade kit, and let me show you this. Right now, I don't really technically have it transformed the way that I'm supposed to, but, you know, that is my shtick. And let me put him in a pose where he can look at you. So, yeah. Yeah, there. Look dynamic, Sludge. There. Yeah, look at that. So, Sludge looks great in his robot mode. So, here, I'm going to move you out of the way. This is one of the dinosaur feet. And it has these pegs for the weapons modes. These are 5mm pegs. Now, the way that these are made, they actually split into two pieces. One problem that I have had with just about all of my combiner feet from every company that I've tried so far is that when you get a combiner standing on their feet, a lot of times these things want to come apart. And what I did was I just put a little bit of super glue on this tab here, this tab here, this tab here, and this little edge here, and then the mating surface here. And I just let it dry completely overnight, because you don't want to, I mean, I guess if you really wanted to, you could glue it together permanently, but then you lose the ability for it to become weapons. But, yeah, I just left that on there, and that gave me a residue of glue that dried overnight, and now when I put these together, they go together nice and tight and make for a very solid combiner foot that works very, very well. And that's something that I've noticed with just about all of the third-party combiner feet. They look great, but because they do tend to make them so that they split apart, they want to split apart, and that's something that I don't think is completely necessary. Here's what this actually does. So you see that's pretty much a foot. You split it apart, and then you swing this around, and you fold this tab down, and then you have that 5mm peg. And let's do it for both of these. And so there's a couple ways that you can use this. Now, of course, there's also on this one, there's this little peg up here, which is not on this side, and it has the peg that it pegs into when it's a combiner foot. So there's a couple different ways that this can be held by the character in both in robot and alt mode. And what I usually do with these, because they are so big, I usually have them as under the arm Gatling guns. Whoops. There we go. There. You know, something like that. Or you could even do a on the arm Gatling gun. And I mean, tell me that doesn't look badass. That is pretty cool. So you've got these weapons, which, look at the detail that they put into these. I mean, these are beautifully designed guns. They do look fantastic, and they are so badass. And especially for a team like the Dinobots, that is, as a group of characters, they are known for their sort of overkill tactics. I think that they're very fitting. Now, that being said, if I were designing combiner feet for Volcanicus, I would do things a little bit differently. And here's what I would want to do. So, turning these back into a foot. I look at this and I think, you know, if this were a little Ankylosaurus, like a robot Ankylosaurus, like a drone, that would be pretty badass. You know, or even if it were a guy with, you know, like a little Ankylosaurus character that had a simple transform, maybe a fold in half, fold out the, you know, arms become arms, you know, whatever, but extra characters. Now, obviously, the people at Perfect Effects, they're repainting these for many different combiners. This is pretty much the same set that they use for Power of the Primes Abominus in different colors. If you're doing Abominus, and you know, if you're using this for Abominus, it doesn't make as much sense for you to make the characters little dinosaurs. And that's something, whereas my idea would be a little bit more tailored towards actually becoming extra members of the teams rather than just extra stuff for them to carry. Ty Guy says, the Gatling gun reminds me of heavy arms from Gundam Wing. And Monica says, it reminds me of T-100s on the movie. Yeah, the T-100s, they had those big Gatling guns. So, yes, a toast to Ty Guy and to Monica, because you are both right. So... So, that's a foot. Let's take we still haven't looked at Sludge and seen him in all of his glory. We've been focusing on his weapons. So, we've got the character, and once again, it's hard to make a fair comparison between Power of the Primes Sludge and Gen 1 Sludge. The original is such a nice toy, and it has that beautiful chrome on it, and it's a little bit bigger, and you know, the back legs have a point of articulation that these are just single molded. The colors pop more on the Gen 1 version. It's hard to beat original Gen 1 Sludge. But in terms of playworthiness, This one has ball joints in the shoulders. It has swivels at the biceps. It has hinges at the elbows. It has a pivot just for the transform in the fist. It has ball joints on the hips, swivels in the thighs, pivots at the knees, and it still looks a lot like the original Gen 1 version. It just does more. And that's the thing. That's really the rub. It's, yes, these toys are certainly a little more involved to transform, and you know they're made all of plastic. There is no metal. It's just plastic, and you're not getting the vacuum metallized parts. And let's face it, those processes were just gorgeous. And when they're not doing it, it shows, and it does make it hard to look at an all-plastic toy and say, well, you know, this is... It almost makes you feel like this is okay. It's okay. But that being said, this version of Sludge is really great. You know, he looks awesome. He's got a great transform. His head sculpt is very nice. Here, let's take a look here. You know, he's far more expressive than he ever was in his Gen 1 incarnation. And the paint detail is not tremendous. There's not a whole lot of paint detail, but they put it where it counts, and it makes for a very, very nice figure. Also, while you don't have that beautiful vacuum metallized coating on the panels, this is a nice gray. It's got a nice luster to it. It's not going to compare to the original, but it's not bad either. So yeah, Power of the Primes Sludge really is a fantastic figure in his own right. Is it as good as the original? It's like comparing apples and oranges, because the original doesn't become a combiner limb either. Brick says, you have at least 3 Sauruses to drink for. Oh, I forgot about that completely. Okay, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. And then I read that comment. And this is probably for the next one. It's hard. You guys don't know how hard it is. I thought that I would breeze through this one, and I am not. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. I'm going to blame it on that. It's good to have excuses. Excuses are important. Excuses is what our society is founded on. So, yeah, I see that Christopher Remley has has several emojis for drinking. That's good. So, yeah, really like Sludge. We need to transform him. And it's not hard. So we're going to open up the little door on the back of the at this point, is it a Bronto again? Are they back to calling it a Bronto? Because I know that it was originally a Bronto, and then it was an Apato, and then I think that, and at some point they decided that now there's another one that they're going to use the word Bronto, since nobody wants to give up Bronto. Okay? Nobody wants to give up the Bronto, thingy. And Brick says, also, Seisma and Titan, and then there's Brachia. There's Brachia. Don't forget Brachia. So anyway, oh, and Diplodocus. Oh, I love mispronouncing that one. That's like my favorite because it's Diplodocus, but it's if you look at the spelling, Diplodocus is completely valid. I'm gonna stand by it. So anyway, I flipped in his fists, and then you spin the leg at what was the bicep, and his wings will collapse over just like that. So, in many ways, it's very similar to the original Gen 1. And Rob S says, don't worry, I didn't get much sleep last night either. And, you and me, Rob, and here's the kicker. I was up all night. I was up until 6 a.m. trying to fix Retrobot's arm. And as soon as we roll him out, it might have killed him. No, Retrobot's not dead, okay? He inhabits the body, okay? Just so that you know, the alien symbiote inhabits the body that I built. So I'm helping him to have an adaptable chassis that he can use to interact with this world, but he's okay. He's just very angry right now. He can't even properly swear at me right now. So anyway, you put the legs together, and then you're gonna do a swivel at the waist. And now here's the thing. He's got these little panels in here, which I believe are supposed to come down and make heels. But whenever you move the legs here, the panels inside tend to move with them, which means that you'll set them and then you'll move something and then they don't stay where they're supposed to. So these are supposed to go up here into the legs like this. Just push them up inside that, like that. And I guess it's good that they move with these, because if they didn't, it would be really hard to dig them out of there. And then you're going to bend at the knees and then have the legs just snap in. And I love the way this goes together. It just, come on, give me the click. Oh, it didn't give me the click. I'm disappointed. No, we're doing it again because I want the click. Here we go. Yeah, did you hear that? It gave me the click. And so that does that. And then you've got this kind of complicated couple of hinges right here. And you put these together to put the tail halves together. And then that closes against there. And now you can bring around these legs. And I really wish that the feet had pivot points. I want them to have pivot points. At some point, I may kit bash him just to put pivot points in those, because I want... It's okay. It's okay. They don't need them. I just want them. And then you just adjust them so that all four legs are kind of positioned on the same plane. And now he is a Brontobrachia apata diplodocus or something. Machiavellic says, okay, that's a first. I've never seen high-heeled dinosaur shoes. He does have high-heeled dinosaur shoes, but he wears them discreetly. I don't think that he wants Grimlock or Slug to know that he's wearing... Oh, technically, it didn't have the us on the end, but... That was a good one. That was a good one. You got me. Oh, gosh. It's a good... I'm just going to say this. It's a good night when you're playing with robot dinosaurs and getting tipsy doing it. I think, to me, I don't know if you guys play along with the drinking game, but you should try it, unless you're under the legal age, in which case drinking is wrong. But Yeah, I hope that you're having as much fun with this stuff as I am, because I love these guys. Even when I'm like, ooh, they didn't do this, ooh, they didn't do that, oh, I wish they had more detail, I wish it had, understand that I love this. And if my house were on fire, this set is one of the sets that I would be racing in to grab. Because, I wouldn't want to lose it. And now we know. And knowing is half the battle. You should never run into a burning building. That is unsafe. And here on Retrobot, we only encourage safe, responsible behavior. Like recreational drinking! Oh. So you have your guy, and he's got some 5mm pegs here. And what that enables you to do. So now we're back to these things. And I did transform these really recently. So I do know how to transform them. I'm just pointing that out. Okay, there, look, I transformed it. Did I mention how nice these guns are? And oh, wait a minute here. And all right, so we have 5mm ports here and there. We also have some hex ports here, and we have 5mm ports on his hips. So you can take these and you can plug them in on the hips. And now his dino mode is armed with Gatling guns. Tell me that isn't awesome. That's pretty awesome. Now let's look at this, because let me switch my little risers. So here, take a look, and I'll get the camera positioned. So look at that. Once again, I'm going to point out the clear parts that are painted from the inside. That looks terrific. Let me bring that a little bit closer so that you can really appreciate how nice of a detail that is. And see, they still painted the eye from the outside, so really taking advantage of that. He also has an opening mouth, which is fantastic. He, of course, has ball joints on his front legs, and they have knee joints. So, this Bronto whatever, I almost said it, is very, very playable. And then I put big Gatling guns on it. And see, in the back here, once again, this is another clear piece that has been painted silver from the inside, and it looks great. And his overall shape is very, very nice. Now, is he as gorgeous of a toy as the original Sludge? No. No, he absolutely is not. But once again, I'm just going to say, worthy successor. Maybe not as good as the first, but you can't form Volcanicus with the original. And so yeah, and honestly, the original Dinobots are some of the nicest, coolest toys that were ever made in my lifetime. So saying that one of these is not as nice as the original is not really a big slight. It's sort of like saying, okay, my car isn't as nice as a Lamborghini. It's a freaking Lamborghini. And oh, Grayscale is here. Hello, Grayscale. Welcome to Dinobots Part 4. A toast to grayscale. And by the way, I've noticed that I'm back to that thing where I drink and then I say toast, and I feel like that's doing it right. I don't know if anybody else has any commentary on that, but I feel like, you prioritize the drinking. And, oh, gosh. If you're, once again, if you're under the legal age, don't drink. It's wrong. So, that is Sludge. He looks great. Let's continuing on. And let's take a look at Snarl. So, we've got Snarl here. He is in his robot mode. He's got a pretty terrific robot mode. There's a lot going on here, and I'm going to try and get him into a workable position. And there we go. And we can take this thing and we can plug it onto his back. This is just one of the extra pieces that comes with the upgrade kit. And so it's important to have places for all the pieces. It really does nothing to improve his robot mode. The sword is great, but this is important because it strengthens Volcanicus's butt. But Snarl is carrying Volcanicus's butt on his back. But you look at Snarl, and Snarl does look awesome. I think that now obviously the original Gen 1 Snarl is possibly the nicest of the Dinobots. He is the most robustly built. I've got a couple versions of the Gen 2 Snarl, and they are both absolutely gorgeous toys. So if we're going to compare him to the Gen 1s and the Gen 2s, he is, the plastic is duller. There's no metal. Those toys are works of art. That being said, this is a nice toy. He's got fantastic articulation. He's got a lot of neat things. The way that they did the tail is very, very nice. On this extra piece that comes back here and then splits out behind him, it gives him a great look. His head is on a ball joint, so he can actually look around. And you look at the face sculpt once again. The sculpts on these toys are expressive and really, really beautifully done. I mean, he's serious. And comparing that to the quasi-blank expression of the original, this one, he's thinking. I'm not sure that I want to know what he's thinking, because I feel like it's probably violence, and if he's looking at me while he's got that expression on his face, then I should probably leave Earth. That's the solution. So Ty Guy says, how many have you even had tonight, Clay? I've lost count. Well, this is this much, and this is my second. So I've only had 1.75. I haven't even had 2 drinks. I should probably say Saurus a few more times just to drink a little bit more. Saurus. So, there we go. Getting back to Snarl. Of course, he's got He's got, yeah, I love that the way that they jointed the arm here, because it seems like it shouldn't be able to move this well, but because of where they place that ball joint, he's got full use of this shoulder joint. Of course, once again, we have the rotation at the bicep, the pivot at the elbow. We've got a pivot at the wrist. You've got a swivel at the waist. Swivels in the thighs, ball joints on the hips, and pivots at the knees. So he's got a lot of articulation here. I have done some kit bashing on this one to help accommodate some of the upgrade kits, because as I mentioned before, it's important to me that they be able to store all the extra bits in all their modes. It's an OCD thing. I want them to always be able to have the stuff on them if in any case. So I'm going to pull his sword off to the side here. Let's go ahead and turn him into a dino mode. I'm going to take this off of his back. And so with him, we're going to start by flipping in the wrists, just like that. And then we've got this whole panel here that comes back here like this. And now we can take the head, and it's on this little pivoting thing, and that flips back into the body there. And now we can take this, actually, before we do that, let's close up the tail, and that just closes over the body. And look at how nice that closes. It clicks into place. I mean, that's nice. It's very nice. At this point, the arms are on these little swivel joints, okay? It's sort of a double joint here. There's the ball joint on top, but then there's this underneath, and that swivels. So what we want to do is we want to move it towards the back, which, by the way, we can also fold up these plates here. And so we pivot those towards the back, and now we can bring the leg down like that. And we're going to do the same thing on here. We're going to pivot that up like this, and then rotate this around to give it the Stegosaurus legs. So we got the back half of a Stegosaurus. Oh, I said it again. Stegosaurus. Thank you. Drinking problem. That's why I usually have a straw. So, like we've seen before, we're going to just put the legs together, get all of the panels open in the back, and we're going to pivot this around, and it is going to close against the front of the body, and look at how nice that fits. That's beautiful. And I realize that these days, with modern engineering software, you assume that all the parts should fit together nice and tight. But you know what? Sometimes they don't. And here's the thing that people don't realize. When plastic is being molded, of course, you try to have consistent thicknesses of material throughout the part, because anywhere where you have inconsistent thicknesses, then parts cool at different rates due to the different mass of the plastic in the mold. And what that does is that causes warping, and it causes divots. Now, you look at these parts, and they've got ribs and facets and different geometry happening everywhere. So it's not just a matter of going into a computer and designing parts that fit together. It's also being able to anticipate where things are going to warp and how they're going to warp, so that when those parts cool, they are the correct final shape, because it's going to be slightly different than how it is in the mold. And it may not look any different to the naked eye, but that's what makes the difference between parts that really fit well and parts that are a little bit janky. And so that's the kind of thing that only comes with experience and expertise and true professional engineering and manufacturing, and not everybody's capable of that. So this is just me throwing out a shout out to the professionals who do this every day and do it reliably to make toys that do all sorts of stuff like this and still look like a robot when they're a robot and still look like a dinosaur when they're a dinosaur. I'm drinking. So, here is his dino mode. Let's take a look at that. And there he is. Once again, you're seeing that painting on the inside technique done in the head. And it looks good. They did the same thing in the front legs and in the back hip here. He's got a good dino mode. It's not as nice as the Gen 1 version. I mean, you know, once again, kind of an unrealistic standard to compare to, but it is a very, very nice version. Now, I know that Hasbro Selects has made a repaint that has that has nicer gold and better metal tones and stuff like that, and they want me to buy it again. I'm not gonna. Now you can see I added holes, and unfortunately my holes didn't come out very nice. You know, you can see it's a little bit rough there. I think I added a hole to the hip too, and that hole is not nearly as nice as I would like it to be. I also did this. This is a drywall anchor. I glued this drywall anchor in here and did a little bit of drilling to make it fit a 5mm peg. Because it had a hole, but you really couldn't stick anything in that hole because the plates always got in the way. And so, especially when... Freezing. Boom. Huh? So, especially when I got... Oh, I guess we can't do that. There we go. So especially when I got pieces like these that have to peg on there somehow, I needed to be able to access that, and so that is what I did. That's also a great place to put prime armor. And here's something that's kind of cool with this upgrade kit. So we have this thing, which doesn't really have a whole lot of function because of the way that the swords are made, or the other weapons. But what you can do is let's get one of these little Titan Master guys, and here, let me get this guy. Right here. There. Okay, so we got our little Titan Master guy here. And our little Titan Master guy does fit right down in there. So you can... It's sort of like a Zoid pilot. So I appreciate that. That's actually kind of cool. Now, granted, the Power of the Primes version of Volcanicus didn't actually come with any of these guys, but I added them, so I'm glad that he has a place to ride if he wants it. Of course, then he can't ride in his Pteranodon, but hey, you can't have everything. Where would you put it? And this is another one. I'm kind of forgetting which guys I would put which weapons on. I think that actually let's see, I have another piece of prime armor here. So let me see here. Okay, now I know that this went on there, and then I want to say that I stuck something on the sides there. Maybe, I think maybe these might have gone on here, maybe. And then I might have used the prime armor. I don't remember. I just don't remember. It doesn't matter. The point is, I have places for all this stuff, and you of course can do stuff like that. And then he's a Stegosaurus with Gatling guns. And yes, I said it again. But look, I've got a full glass. So yeah, that is Snarl in his dino mode, and he's pretty awesome. Of course, we've got some pivoting on the legs. We've got a lot of articulation on the back legs. The mouth doesn't open. I wish that the mouth opened. You know, this is one of the few where the mouth doesn't open. The mouth should open, but other than that, still a good playable dino mode. Because it's got Gatling guns on it. So that is Snarl being Snarl. And then let's take a look at Slug. Or for those of you who are resistant to change, Slag. But we've got Slag here looking contemplative, like, you know, I've never really thought about the dynamics of this war. How violence perpetuates. We're all the heroes in our own stories. So, yeah, that is, of course, what Slug is thinking. But he's thinking that while carrying a Gatling gun, and then I have another one on his back, and he's got a sword. So his robot mode, I would say that of all of the Power of the Primes guys, his robot mode is in some ways, I guess it's kind of one of the weaker ones. I hate to say that because it's still very good. It's very, very playable. He's got points of articulation everywhere. You know, his shoulders move, his hips move. He doesn't have the swivel at the waist. And you see how the dino panels, in the original, these would have been folded back and become wings. But in this one, they just left them there, and they kind of have this open channel here and here. So, not that it's bad, but it does just kind of leave him a little bit less transformed in some ways. Also, because of the fact that his head is inside this Triceratops head, you can pivot the face, but not very much. It does, yeah. There's just not a whole lot that you can do with it, because it's in there pretty good. Now, that being said, the colors are very nice. I really like the metal paint that they used around this leg and on the shoulder and on the kind of crown here around the dino head. So he does look very, very good. But I would say of all of the Power of the Primes characters, he is probably the weakest. So it seems that Michael Spicer and Asher are here. So a toast to Michael Spicer and a toast to Asher. And Asher's favorite Dinobot is Grimlock. And fortunately for you, Michael Spicer and Asher, we are talking about Grimlock next. So if you guys hang on for a little bit longer, we're going to be going to Grimlock Town. It's going to be awesome. But we're still in Slug Town. So we got Slag here. Let me take out his weapons, so that you can really appreciate the robot mode and see what I'm talking about. And then we will turn him into a dinosaur. So yeah, you can see here that because of the decision not to open up the body, from the back, there's an awful lot of Triceratops there. It's just straight up Triceratops. There's not really anything disguising it, and it's not a big deal, but it does kind of hurt the robot mode. His colors are great though. His colors do look fantastic. The detail is very, very nice. He's got an excellent expression. He's got a lot of facets and features. I really love the way that the mouth of the Triceratops snaps down over his chest. So, there's a lot to appreciate. The other thing is, he's smaller than the original Slag. And whereas a lot of these guys are close to the same size, Slug and I think mostly I think that it's most pronounced in Slug, because Snarl is pretty close. He might be a little bit smaller, but it seems like the original Slag was beefier. He was just, he was like, he was another one that was just right for throwing at your sister and then getting in a lot of trouble. So yeah, this one is a little bit less lethal to your siblings, and is that a selling feature? I don't know. You decide. Let's go ahead and turn him into a dinosaur, because that is what he does. He turns into a dinosaur. So once again, I'm going to start by folding in the fists, and then I'm going to flip up the panel. And if you want, you can actually leave it partially open, and that makes him look like his mouth is opened. It's kind of awkward because, the jaw isn't here. Okay, but the hinge is here, but if it were actually a mouth, it would be hinged up here. Nonetheless, when he's in dino mode and you have that open like that, it reads as a mouth. I'll accept it. So at this point, we've flipped in fists and flipped up a mouth, and the top half is already Triceratops. Not a whole lot of change happening there. I really love what they've done here. And they've done this in a couple of these characters, where they have these double hinges here that swivel around and allow the tails to be tucked into the cavity in the backs of the legs. It fills in the gaps, and it really makes for a nice detail, and it looks good when the characters are combined. So let's pull those out. And then we're going to pivot them out sideways, like this. And then, just like before with Sludge, we've got these panels on the inside. So we're going to push them up inside there. And then we're going to bring the legs down, pivot at the knees, and then... Ha ha ha! There's the click! I love the click! So... that closes there. At this point, you can take those tail pieces and swivel them around like this until they meet up, bring them together, and then click them up like that. And I really like that. It's such a great maneuver. And I have to say that I was always a big fan of the way that the Generation 1 versions would have that thing where the legs would swing around here and then the tails would swing around this way and just kind of square off the tops of the legs. And I thought that was really cool. This is an improvement on that design. I would definitely say that that's an improvement on it. And then you open up the lower feet, and boom, it's a Triceratops. Now, because of the combining features, there's an extra pivot in here, kind of a double joint that the head is on. And so what I sometimes do is I'll dislodge that a little bit and then just bring the head up a little bit. I don't know that that's anatomically correct. I suspect that it's probably closer to true that his head is down further, but I like it better with the head up. It also gives him a little bit of an ability to look up and look forward. You know, just a little bit of articulation in the dino mode. Even though it's fake, it's a personal preference. Hey, you transform it the way you want because it's your toy. I'm just doing it my way. So we've got that, and here I'll show you the dino mode on the other camera. And there's his back, and there's the rest of him. And you can see that the Triceratops mode does look good. The colors look good. His clear parts look good. But it's hard to beat the original. The original Slag was very, very plastic. Not like Snarl, where you had these big, heavy cast metal parts. Of all the Dinobots, the original Slag probably feels the most light, other than Swoop, who is, of course, a much, much thinner and less bulky figure. But this version is very nice. It is a little bit smaller, but details are good. I like what they did here with the two tones in the hub of the leg. Of course, the front legs have a lot of articulation, being on that ball joint and having that swivel. The back legs don't have a ball joint, but they do have a knee joint, and you can move them forward and back. So there's a little bit that you can do with that. And of course, there's the kind of faking the mouth being open and the ability to fake having a neck joint here. So with those combinations of things, it's a very playable dino mode. Very, very decent. A worthy successor to the original, but is it as nice as the original? Probably not. But once again, the original doesn't combine to form Volcanicus. And of course, you can stick guns on them, and there's a hole on the back where you can stick prime armor and have more guns and stuff like that. One of the things that I would like to do with Slag here, or Slug, is, so I'll take the prime armor like this. I'll open the fingers, because it does have fingers, if you can get it. There we go. Okay, so you open the finger panels. You can have the thumb panels on either side down, and then you have that 5mm post in the downward position. Peg it in, closing over the fronts of the feet, and then doing that. And then we can take these extra swords, and we can do that. And actually, let's see, I think that what I used to do, I would go, like, I put a couple extra holes in on some of these so that I could do stuff like this. Yeah, I think this one, So, you know, that you could have swords there, and then I think that it was Sludge that got a couple of the cannons, maybe. But, you know, Sludge with cannons, and then Swoop with his extra sword things. There we go. So we got these. Maybe there we go. All right. So doing stuff like that, and then we take some of these and stick them on here. Oh. Yeah. There. And we take that and do I have two of the same thing? Oh, I sure do. So, yeah, we can give him his side cannon things, and he can have some prime armor, and he's decked out for battle. And then we have Sludge here, who can have some guns. Let me put them on like this, because that's important. And so he can have that, and then we can have Snarl with this thing and a couple blade things, and they can be like that. And then we have Swoop with some blade things and some prime armor. And so we got all sorts of ways of decking these guys out and giving them all sorts of weapons. But of course, what you really want to see is Grimlock, right? Everybody wants to see Grimlock, because Grimlock's Grimlock. And that means putting on the other camera. And there he is. And Power of the Primes Grimlock looks good. He really does. And he's got a lot of articulation. It's hard to beat original Grimlock, but I have to say that the proportions are nicer. He's got a better sculpt. He's got big beefy arms. You can see he's carrying this big shield thing, which is part of the upgrade package. He also has longer legs. These so the upgrade kit came with new thighs and new forearms. So somewhere I have a little baggie that has his old forearms, and what these do is it changes the way that you transform him for the combined mode. And the advantage is that it gives his legs better knee joints, and it also enables him to, when he's transformed into Volcanicus, let's go back over to one of these views here. So when he is transformed as Volcanicus, you see this, how the legs go out to the sides, and the circles on the shoulders are facing forward. It's I don't like it. And I think the people who made the upgrade kit also said, yeah, that's just not very good. And you'll see how much better it works when they don't try to have those big circles on either side of the dino head. So we've got Grimlock here. I'm going to go ahead and take off this extra shield, which I actually added a little handle inside there to make a 5mm plug that would allow him to carry it. It's got a handle here underneath that allows him to hold it in his fist, but that just seemed cumbersome. And now it's using up the fist. And see, that to me isn't weapon storage. If the only option is for them to hold it in their hand, then okay, what if they want to put it down? So I like it when there's a passive location like the shoulder or the arm or the back or something for them to be able to carry these. So I made this extra little piece that that allows him to hold it just like that. So we're going to set that aside. Let's take a look at Grimlock proper. And you can see him. Details are very nice. Of course, he doesn't have the vacuum metallized gold, but I understand that the new Hasbro Selects version is very, very nice in that regard. Probably still not the vacuum metallized gold, but a less brownish gold. You know, the gold that they used on this set is a little bit dingy, and that's something where the new set is nice, but it's also kind of expensive, and I don't really need to pay that kind of a price point just to have another copy of this set. You can see the upgrade kit axe that comes with it. And you can see here where there's a little bit of residue on the inside of this wing from where I added a 5mm post. And that is a kit bash that I did that I use in Volcanicus, which I will show you why that's there. There are reasons. You can see some of the terrible Power the Primes foil stickers, which are just the most hideous thing that happened in that line, and I hope that never ever happens again. You can also see the new position of the combiner post. This is where the combiner limbs will now attach, whereas they used to be put, I think, on the back of the elbow, and so they've changed that. And overall, his robot mode looks good. I love the big shoulders. I love the kind of husky build that he's got. He's very, very nicely proportioned. This is a good looking Grimlock toy. And it may not be the nicest Grimlock toy that we've ever seen, but it definitely looks the part. It's got ball joints. It's got hinges in the elbow here. Actually, a double hinge in the elbow. It's got a pivoting waist. It's got fully posable hips. It's got the swivel above the knee plus a knee joint. So you can get Grimlock into all sorts of menacing poses, and that's important. You know, he needs to be able to look at you and say, "Me Grimlock badass." So that's important. Now, of course, he does transform, and let's go ahead and show that. I'm gonna take the thing out here, and so with Grimlock, I would say that Grimlock has changed the most from his original form. A lot of the other Dinobots have very, very similar transforms to their original, and Grimlock is the one where they took the most liberties with. Some liberties that I just don't understand, but we're going to do it. So once again, I'm going to start by flipping in the fists, and I'm just going to kind of straighten out the arms here. And then, so the body is attached on this combination. It's kind of a double hinge here. And what we're going to do is we are going to fold the dino head over top of his regular head. And then this panel, you know, it sometimes likes to move. Just close that. And this doesn't actually have to come out, but it kind of wants to. We're going to take the legs and we're going to split them at the hips, and then, oh wait, we're not going to do that. We're not going to split them at the hips. We're just going to fold the tips of the tail down, and then we're going to take the butt plate. He has a butt plate, and it's also on a double hinge, and we're going to do that to close the legs. Now remember that these are new thighs, and this is one thing that the upgrade kit does that that in some ways kind of hurts the design. It makes the tail longer, and the tail on Grimlock was already kind of oversized, and this only makes it a little bit longer. It's not that much longer. It's only about 1/4 of an inch, if that, maybe even less. But nonetheless, it is noticeable when you put him into dinosaur mode. We're going to put the legs together and see, you know, notice that we're not doing a fold over thing at this point like the original Grimlock. We're just sticking the legs together and folding down the tail. And originally the bottoms of the legs just came out to a harsh corner. Now you can see where I have filed away at these edges to taper that down so that he didn't have quite so much of a box butt. But there's only so much that you can do there, and what I don't understand is why. Because they put these combiner ports here because of the way that he has to combine. Well, you could have still had them on the feet and had the feet rotate around here. You didn't. I just don't understand this change. And it doesn't improve the design because it makes the dinosaur mode suffer, and it doesn't make his legs look any better. I don't get it. Nonetheless, you're going to take the body, and you see this is a big change from the original. You split the chest, and now it's going to swing down on 2 double hinges and close around the lower half like that. And see, that's where if the legs were just a little bit shorter, there wouldn't be quite so much of a gap here, but there is a gap, and it's unfortunate because it does kind of hurt the dino mode. And honestly, Grimlock's Power the Prime Grimlock's dinosaur mode is already a little bit hampered by the way that they chose to do these legs, and I don't understand it. I just don't get it. So of course, as you're used to with Grimlock, you're going to take these panels and close them around the body, and so and then you can put the little dinosaur arms out there, and then put his legs into a nice T-Rexy position, and you know, kind of put him into an attack mode, and maybe put one of his legs back and do something like that. So you look at this, and Grimlock looks like Grimlock, and he looks pretty good. He looks dynamic. He's got all the Grimlocky bits, but then you look at him from the side, and it's a little bit janky. It's just a little bit janky. There's no, and the original had some of this. The upgrade kit only accentuates it. It only makes it more pronounced, and that is sadly probably the biggest sacrifice that you make with this upgrade kit. Let me show you the dino mode on the other camera so you can really see it. So there he is. Oh, I'm knocking stuff over. So let me position Grimlock and grab stuff that I'm dropping. There we go. So there he is, and you know, that can close down around there. And it's not a terrible dino mode, but it's certainly the weakest dino mode. And you know, that tail hurts him a lot. There's a lot of kind of gobbledygook stuff happening here that really doesn't look very good, and that's because of the Volcanicus combination. So Grimlock has kind of suffered the most design compromises in terms of making him into a combiner. That being said, this is still not bad. You know, it's not terrible. It's not like, oh my god, this is the worst Grimlock I ever saw. This is a good Grimlock. You know, it's still no Pretender Classics Grimlock. It's still not even the Energon Grimlock. It's okay, but there are some sacrifices that were made, and you just have to get past it. You have to accept it, and you have to be able to move on, because the play value of this toy is phenomenal. That's the other part of it, is that there are a lot of obvious conceits that I have to make with this guy, but he is fun to play with. And being able to, you know, the legs are really dynamic because of these ball joints that are in here, and the arms are on ball joints, which means that you can move them around. And even though there's, you know, they're little, so you don't do a whole lot with them anyway, but you can still get them into some cool poses and stuff like that. The head is on a swivel, and the mouth opens and closes. And because of this, you can actually move the tail into different positions, which kind of helps when you want to have him in more of a running T-Rex mode. And he is fun, and that has to count for something. Being able to just mess with him is fun. So that's pretty awesome. We need to combine him, though. I think we're there. I think that's the point that we're at. And so we're going to turn these guys into Volcanicus, and it's going to be amazing. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to start with Slag here, and I'm going to take off the prime armor. And the nice thing is that that a lot of these characters don't have to change much in order to combine them. Machiavellic asks, have you guys already gotten the Studio Series Grimlock, or should I say we can expect it for Dinobots Part 5? And we have gotten the Studio Series Grimlock, and we're going to be doing a short circuits video on that soon. And we will probably be talking about it in not too long. I wanted to do that in a Dinobots Part 5 series and pair it up with Masterpiece Grimlock, because I hear people making that comparison pretty often. So anyway, with Slag, you fold up the tail, and we're going to fold the legs up, kind of put them into some sort of a position. I think that probably kind of a down position like this is the best way to do it. And then you have the little forelegs, and you're going to swivel them around, because there's a tiny little notch, or a little tab here, and a little notch in the arm, and it's just going to tab in like that, kind of lock it into place, or at least seat it into place. It doesn't really lock it, but it does seat it nicely. And then you've got your combiner point that's going to go there. And then we also take our Gatling guns that are very, very important. And we're going to transform those back into a foot. And get these to tab together. There we go. Now, these have an ankle joint that's on a swivel. That's important because it only goes one way. So you see this? This is going to be Volcanicus's right foot. And then we're going to peg that in here. The only thing that I will say as a criticism, and I'm not sure if this is a flaw of the perfect combiner set or a flaw in Slag, but it seems like the foot wants to become detached often, and I don't know why. But you know, at some point I'm going to do something to fix that. I just haven't yet. So we've got one foot. And then we've got Snarl here, and we're going to fold the head up, and we're going to take the robe or the dino legs here, the back legs, and fold them. Remember that double joint here? We're going to move that double joint up, and then once again we're going to rotate these back, and there's that little tab here and a little notch in the wrist, and it's just going to kind of seat it nicely. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side, and then we're going to bring this forward and split the tail slightly, and then we can expose the combiner port. And we need another pair of Gatling guns. So we take these and turn them back into halves of feet. And then we take the halves of feet and put them together to make whole feet. There we go. And being mindful of which way the ankle goes, we plug that in here. And see, it allows it to pivot like that. And so we'll set that aside. Now we've got Swoop. And we can take the head, we can bring it down like this. We can take the legs and bring them out, take the bird feet. You're going to keep the legs together, and you're just going to fold the bird feet up against the leg like this. Pivot the feet together. Expose the combiner peg in the back. And now, what you're going to do here, this is important, and it doesn't seem like it should be, but it actually is. Notice that the arms are in the way of the waist being able to rotate because they're pegged in. So you're going to pull the arms out, bend at the elbows, bend them like that, and then swivel them forward because there's these tabs on the insides of the elbows that are going to go into this little slot on the side of the body, and that's going to peg in just like that. And so now we can bring the wings together like this, and then there are these little rectangular tabs on the shoulders, and then there's these little rectangular holes in the wings, and they're supposed to kind of fit together to seat them, but they don't mesh up very well. I mean, they do line up, but they don't hold it in at all. And they also, because of these little raised things on his arms, these 5mm ports, they don't allow you to put the wings in all the way. So his wings kind of have to stick out like this, or you just have to dislodge those arms So, you know, you make a choice. You're either going to have these sticking out more, or you're going to have the wings not up against his shoulders. It's not a big deal. It doesn't ruin anything, but it's just something to be mindful of. And so you have this arm, you swivel at the waist, and now you use the thighs as an elbow joint. And now this is where the Perfect Effects kit is really cool. So you had these guns. These things, so you have all of these things. These are the fingers. This is the thumb. And the whole thing folds up like that to create a hand. And this is a really nice combiner hand. You've got fully articulated fingers. At some point, I'd like to paint these spikes gold. I think that would be nice to match the feet. And then you also have this little 5mm post that folds out. And so now that plugs in to the hole here. And so that makes an arm. And this is where I'm going to take Taro. And let's see, let's get Taro's little guy back. So we'll take Taro's little Titan Master guy, put him back inside Taro. Like that. And so these little Titan Master guys have a sort of weapon mode. So you fold the head backwards like this, and then I put on this little piece here that can swivel in either direction. And these are 5mm compatible posts. So that's going to go down like that. And then I'm going to fold the wings around like that, and then just fold the feet up like that. And so what I can do now is I can take that, rotate it around, plug it into the hole that I added to the side here, and now he has an arm cannon that sticks on the side of him. So that is one arm. And then we will take Sludge. We will fold down the tail. And once again, we're going to do a thing with, actually with Sludge. So he's got this little hexagon hole here, and he's got a hexagon shape in his elbow. So you just need to line those up, and that will locate that. Actually, wait, I'm doing the leg, but he's going to be an arm. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the legs, just like we were transforming him into a robot. Get the tail out of the way. Stretch those legs. And now we can put the tail back together. And then this goes down and tucks into that. And then we swivel at the waist like that. We're going to take the dinosaur head, and this is actually really cool. So it has this little nub here that meshes up with this socket here. Now on mine, the socket cracked. This is made of clear plastic, and it is a little bit delicate. So so just be careful, because you know, it wasn't sticking, and then it popped up and I pushed it in, and I ended up hearing a little crack, and it's like, now it's discolored. Now the head of the dinosaur swivels around like that, and that's really nice. I really like that. I think it makes for a very cool looking shoulder. In fact, it also looks cool when it's a leg, but it gets in the way of Grimlock's foot when he's pegged in as a leg, so he becomes a shoulder. And so we once again use the thighs to create the elbow. We take this gun, we pull out the fingers, We fold it in half. We pull out the 5mm peg, position the thumb, and turn it into a combiner hand. Plug that into the hole at the bottom of the feet. And so we've got another arm. And now it is time to transform Grimlock. So Grimlock, you're going to close the mouth. You're going to open up the doors, the panels on the side of the dinosaur body. And then we're going to spread his gold bits and collapse them around the top, as though you're transforming him into a robot. Now, here's where the combiner kit changes things, because normally what you would do is you would do this, and it looks like ass. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to leave the arms, or the dinosaur legs, depending on how you're looking at them. And you are going to take the arms and you're going to fold them around like this. And you see how that puts this combiner port back here. And then you're going to do the same thing on here. And then you're going to take the lower half of the body, and you see how it's on that double hinge here? The whole thing is going to come around, and there's these slots in the chest that these tabs in the waist are just going to plug into. And now he's got his butt plate. And now you can get the dino arms out of the way. I did a little bit of kit bashing just to help them to fold flatter. And you can expose the Volcanicus head. Just like that. Now we can spread out the legs here, and you're going to twist at the hips. So this is where it does a thing. We're going to fold up the tail, just like that. And then this is where these pieces become important. This gives you this joint right here. And now we can rotate the legs like this. And I've seen pictures of people transforming these a couple of different ways. I do it this way because it gives his legs a natural leg forward motion. Now, we need that butt plate. The butt plate is important. This has a little piece on the underside that pulls out like this. That's got a hole in it right there. You see that? That is going to peg in to this peg right in there. So that goes right on there. You're going to spread the legs and wrap it around. And now, you see how there are these little diagonal slots in here? Well, those need to peg in to these tabs on the legs. So you have to have these positioned correctly. And so you have to have them in that position. And now it makes this whole hip section much, much stronger than the original design. And now we're going to rotate the waist, and we're going to rotate those legs. So we now have this as his body. But wait, there's more, because you remember that big shield piece. That's here. We've got a couple pieces that pull out of the side, just like this. So we have these. These are going to go together just like this. Alright, so it makes that, and then that is going to plug right into the chest here. Look at that. You see where we're heading now. Also, the new legs have these big square pegs on the back. Well, those are going to peg in to these square holes. And so we've got, let me see which, okay, so there's these things right here, and there's these openings. Those have to line up with that, and everything goes together like this. Here we go. I think it goes like that. Let me see. Let me try flipping it over. Goes one of those two ways. Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely this way. So I was right the first time. Let me put that there. Kind of helps if you line up one of those pegs, press it in. There we go. Okay, now once you do that, this body is solid. It is really, really nice and robust. And look at that. Look at how nice that looks in comparison to that, well, that. Okay, that versus that. Uh-huh. Now, we also have, so wait, we're not quite there. We're close. We're really close. We also have our prime armor. So let's go ahead and put our prime armor pieces right here on the hips. So you do that, and then I've also got my little gaseous somethings, and I'm going to turn them into guns. So this is gas guy. This is actually scavenge. Or, no, this is scrounge. This one's Scrounge. The one with the red jaws, Scrounge. Doesn't matter. I invented these guys. I don't know why I'm being particular about the names. You don't care about the names. You're just thinking, okay, it's past 11, Clay. Get a move on. How long can you talk about dinosaur transformer robot guys? I mean, come on. And then that guy becomes a gun. And see, there are these holes on the legs that they can peg into. There we go. And so now we just combine the bits. So, and there go. Do you remember me telling you about that foot? There goes the foot. I think I mentioned that foot earlier. And then we'll peg this guy in and rotate that. And I'll grab that foot. Oh, there's that foot. And then we'll add an arm, and now this can go down, and we add the other arm, and there he is. But wait, don't forget Slash. So Slash, we're just gonna put Slash into a position with Slash's mouth open. We're going to put the tail forward. And now you remember that post that I added to Grimlock? Well, this is where we use that post. So we're going to position the arms so that one of Slash's arms is going to grab that post there, and the other, there's a post, a 5mm post on the back piece, and so now Slash becomes a shoulder cannon for Volcanicus. Look at that. That is Volcanicus, and that is my version of Volcanicus, and it doesn't get too much better than that. He is big. He is imposing. He is cool. Let me see if I can get him in view in front of the other camera. So there he is. Let's get him in focus. Can I get him in focus? There. So that's him. And I have to say that this is one of my favorite combiners. Maybe my favorite. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Now, that's not the only thing. You still have all these parts, which, yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. Let's see. So, we've got this one that says, okay, Osaka Jack says that he needs to stomp wheelie. That can be arranged. So you take that, slide it in there. You take this piece, slide it in here. This will interlock. So you see how the teeth interlock there. Then you take these two, you put them together like this. And now you've got a ridiculous oversized sword that I'm not even going to try to make him hold. He can hold it, but it's just going to make this take longer, and his hands are going to fall off when I try to do it, and then I'm going to get angry, and then I'm going to throw my Volcanicus across the room, and then I'll cry. And there will be many, many tears. So there he is, Volcanicus in all of his glory. And he is just awe-inspiring. I love this combiner. And here's the thing, it has taken a tremendous amount of work and a lot of, some extra expense, because adding 2 upgrade kits to this on top of already purchasing all the figures, there's, that's a bit of an investment. And so now when they show me that they're releasing a new version with slightly better colors, it's like, I just can't do it. It is, Brick says it also has paint instead of stickers. You know, paint instead of stickers almost... How much is it? Isn't it like... Because, you know, I could get an exact copy of this on AliExpress, or at least I used to, for I think around maybe $60 for the whole thing. Yeah, I think it's like $8 a figure, and then the center guy's a little bit more, but he is imposing, and his body dynamics are fantastic. And that's the thing, when you have the Dinobots finally combining into a Gestalt mode, then you want it to be earth-shattering. Let's see. So, $188. Oh no, I ain't. No. I'm sorry. No. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Those are nice colors. Those are also digital renders. So, they are nice. It does look nice, but I don't think that it's $188 nice. Yeah, I like the colors. They are better colors, but not better enough. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that if this channel ever starts making money, then then we buy stuff like that. But yeah, so there he is. And like I was saying, when you finally get to the point after 30 plus years of kind of wishing that you could combine the Dinobots, and how awesome they would be if there was a Dinobot combiner to go toe-to-toe with Predaking, and then you get him, you don't want it to look like this. I'm sorry. Neither one of those guys looks like a worthy adversary to Predaking. It's just not there. And so, yeah, the upgrade kit adds a lot of bulk, and it adds a lot of extra pieces. And I'm not a huge fan of that. At some point, what I want to do is I want to kit bash the upgrade kit to maybe make a seventh member to the Dinobots team. I think that would probably fix the problem. Maybe make it so that Grimlock and another guy form the body or something like that. I haven't decided, and of course that requires time, and I've got a Retrobot to fix. But nonetheless, he is just, like I said, this is one that I'd race into the house if it were on fire to grab, because I love how I've always got him on the shelf. He is always out, and he has never gotten packed up and put away, because I just love looking at him. I love him being there, and I feel like if burglars try to break into the house, he will fight them and kill them and stomp on them. So now, if he was going to stomp on somebody and I were choosing somebody completely at random, wheelie safe. Oh, sorry. He didn't get to finish his rhyme. Oh no. Yeah. So that is Power of the Primes Volcanicus, and really best version. I guess the best version would be the Hasbro Selects version with the upgrade kit, but that's unlikely to happen. So, since that's unlikely to happen, that's it! I hope that you had fun watching this. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And we are a small channel, so if you have not already, please hit like and subscribe and tell your friends and tell people online to come join us and watch our Short Circuits videos and click the notification bell so that they can see when we're doing stuff, and join us on Friday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Thank you, US. And next week, it's all about Easter eggs. Alien Easter eggs. You see what we're doing there? Because, you know, eggs and Easter and alien eggs and Easter. So, since we are already 15 minutes past 11, then rather than going through the list of names, is it okay if I just toast everyone all at once with one big toast, thanking you so much for joining me. I hope you had fun, and I hope to see each and every one of you next week, if not sooner. So, thank you so much for watching. Oh wait, here, I actually have to do the toast. A toast to everyone. Thank you so much. There, that's the toast. Thank you so much for watching. This is Volcanicus saying, and Clay saying, keep it retro, bot. Yeah. Saying, keep it retro, bot. Even though it's kind of new, but it's still based off of retro stuff. It's a new line of old toys. Doesn't get more retro than that, than stuff that's brand new, versions of old stuff. Because that's retro. And bots. Doing the thing. I really should have slept more last night. Don't know what I'm talking about.